We'll just start off by saying your name and saying your work occupation or what history of life you have so far.
Okay.
To
Well, my name is Amy, and I retired on disability from teaching middle school special education about 10 years ago. And I retired because I have a progressive neuromuscular disease that is ultra rare. Nobody's ever heard of it. It's called GNE myopathy.
um, Not genetic.
It is genetic, yes.
It's genetic.
My parents had 4 children, and they each had a recessive gene. They did not know about it. And it was a 1 in 4 chance for each child to have the disease, and all 4 of us have it. They said it was a billions to one that all 4 of us would end up having the disease, and it's adult onset. So my parents didn't have any idea when they had all 4 of us.
Wow. So what was that like growing up with a 1 in 4 chance of being in the state you are?
Well, I didn't know about it until I was about 21, 22. Then I started feeling the first symptoms, which is foot drop. My right foot started dropping and I started tripping, and I was in college at the time. So I started noticing it only really when it was raining. I would start falling in the wet, slippery floors inside. But it was more growing up. I saw my siblings, I was the youngest. They had it before I did. And I kind of knew there was a chance I had it. There was no tests really to find out if I had it or not, because it was so ultra rare. You just kind of knew when you got the symptoms. And so I was just growing up scared.
Yeah, that's just, as anyone would be.
Yeah.
Certainly don't expect life to be different than everyone else's, but here it is, and God has certainly allowed you to go this far with it. And,
Yes.
I guess what has brought you through even to now? What kind of motivation do you
My
have?
Well, I guess a positive defiance, if I can say it that way. More so, just a will to be here, a will to want to make a difference in the world. A lot of people with disabilities kind of shy away from the spotlight, shy away from, they just kind of want to shutter themselves in. A couple of my siblings are that way. And I've seen that in them. And from the moment I became just in college and decided on my occupation, I originally wanted to be a doctor, but I got too nervous. And I turned to teaching, which is more outspoken, and I am a shy person. I put myself out there, and I went to all the classrooms in my school and talked about my disability and said, hey, when you see me in the hallway and I don't turn around, if you're saying my name, it's because I can't physically do that. So I might talk to you with my back to you, like, hey, can't talk right now. It's because I can't turn around. And I would speak about my disability. My school was a first grade to eighth grade, and I was a seventh and eighth grade teacher. So I would go down to the first grade and talk to them about it and say, if you see me touching the walls when I walk, even though it's a school rule not to touch the walls, like I'm doing it to keep my balance. It's not because I'm breaking the rules. I mean, technically I am, but I'm doing it for a specific reason. And then from there, I wanted to keep, talking about how I want to keep my job, and I want to talk to these kids and tell them about disabilities and show them that even if I have a disability, I can still keep a job. And I was a special ed teacher, and we had a special connection because of that. I was helping them learn to read, and they were helping me with things I couldn't do in the classroom. And we became connected in that way. We were each other's protectors.
That sounds very courageous. And I liked what you said. You find the will to do it, to live. Find the will to do what it takes to live, and now be an example for living, which is beautiful. I can't say there's anything better than that. And what brings you to pro-life? Is it to sort of share that message? Is that kind of...
It is, because while I was born in 82, I have a brother that's 13 years older than me. He was born in 1969. And so my other siblings are in between there. But today, there are genetic tests for my disease, even though it's all adult onset, which means I had a normal childhood, I had a normal infancy, I had normal teenage years. My disease started when I was 21, 22 years old. With this disease, it could start in your 30s, it could start in your 40s. But there's genetic testing now, even before birth. You can have it. They do it. I guess I forget what's called now at this moment. But so you can be aborted because you have this disease, like so many other diseases. But I'm living proof that there's no reason. There is no reason. And I need that. I want that message. I need that message to be out there because there's 4 of us in one family and we're all living a life and we're all still happy to be there. And if that test was out there, I don't know what my parents would have chosen. We're certainly all here right now. And my parents love us and they would want to obviously keep us. But I don't want any parents to have that choice and choose not life.
Well, very well spoken. Yeah, it's tough because those young women, when they sit down, they're told something scary.
Yes.
Like you were told you had this disease. You're scared for your life.
Yes.
And these women, they're scared for their life. It's just very powerful that you can give a testimony that says, no, we don't have to be afraid. God gives us the strength to do his will.
Yes.
And that's can't be undersaid, I don't think.
No, I don't think so
please
either.
say what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, then what brings you to, say, Baby's Breath? How do you see their mission carrying out the way that you would want to reach
Well,
people?
I see my part in Baby's Breath is that we're helping all these women who are pregnant and that maybe if they're thinking about having these tests for all these genetic diseases, and I can maybe say it doesn't matter what those genetic diseases because this is a life. And no matter what this life is, that life is precious and that life can be successful. This life can come out and flower in this world no matter what that life is. I am proof of that, my mom had me. She had no idea what was going to happen. She, thought I wasn't going to have a disease. And here I am in my 40s now, and I have a disease. And though I am not working now, I'm retired, I am still being a productive member of society. And I am still trying to sow God's message saying that I can be successful and spread a word that needs to be said.
You can be a force for God's will. That's what it sounds like, and you can do it however he chooses. If God thought it was more powerful for you to speak it from your position in a chair,
yes,
then that's what he did. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, thank you for your courageous efforts. And then, I guess, do you have any position in a Baby's Breath at this point?
Yes, I am the general manager of Phoenixville, and I'm also helping out with the Independence program. I am currently looking at different clients and interviewing them and seeing if they fit into the Independence program.
Right.
And then I'll also just, anything that's asked of me, I will do. I have this motto, I am not sure if it's grammatically correct actually, but I say community helps community. And for me, that means whatever is asked of me, if I can handle it, I say yes. There's really rarely a time where I actually say no. I am retired, so I have a lot of time on my hands. And if something is asked of me, I say yes. So I see that as, hey, can you do this? Absolutely, I can do it.
I can see why my mom likes you. She's very much said, I'll put things on your plate and you didn't know it was coming at you.
Yes.
Like this interview today.
Yeah, and I don't say no unless I physically can't do it. And I don't mind saying yes, and it makes me feel fulfilled. And I feel that's what God wants me to do, is to keep saying yes, because new opportunities come up for me, and it makes me feel like that's what I was meant to do.
Very nice. And then when these opportunities come out, do you feel like you seek them out, or do they seek you out?
They seek me out.
They seek you out?
Yes.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. You feel that's how you received it?
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
It's nice to hear. I guess my final question then would be, you come from a very humbling position, which can speak louder than anyone from a pulpit, because you've lived a life that you were afraid and accepted it and then triumphed over it. How do you speak to someone, disabled, how do they try to help if they feel like I can't even help myself?
I speak to them from experience, to be honest, because there was a point in my life where I felt like I couldn't help myself. In 2013, before I actually retired from teaching, I fell down some stairs outside. They were icy, and I cracked my skull.
Wow. Ouch.
It was considered a traumatic brain injury. I was unconscious for more than 15 minutes, so that was considered more in the moderate to severe range. And I was out of my job from March to the next September, where I went back to work. And because you're unconscious for more than 15 minutes, you lose your license.
Wow.
Nobody really knew that, but that happened. And I had to work to get it back. It took over a year. I had to go through lessons and everything of that nature. And I really felt down. I didn't know if I was going to be able to drive again or return to work. Over 90% of people with brain injuries get depression. It happened to me. And it really threw me at rock bottom when I was recovering, and I came back from that. I went to work for another year before I ended up going out permanently on disability after that. And I talked to people about that experience and how I overcame it. And people then can relate to that experience, and we talk about how, where you are now, it doesn't have to be where you stay, that you can work forward from that point.
That's a good way of saying it. Where you are is not where you have to stay. There's always a way, if you make it poetic. Mm-hmm. But no, thank you. That's a very uplifting story. I'm sure you told it many times, but thank you for sharing it with me today. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you.